is Katrin with Blend Precisely and Blend Precisely Academy. Today is September 22nd, and we're a few days into our 3.0 release, and it's Wednesday. So I wanted to take the time today and get you started, especially for the new users of Blend Precisely, and show you around a little bit about the basics of Blend Precisely and how to get started as quick as possible. Especially if you're still in the trial phase, this one will be for you. If you're already a long-term customer, you will probably learn quite a bit as well, but this one is literally to give you a quick start, and it's a quick start guide. So the very first thing you want to do is go to app.blendprecisely.io, not .com, but .io. And you probably want to bookmark this one and just have it handy because you probably will be working with it quite a bit. And who doesn't? When we are in business, right? We have to calculate all the time. All right, and then you have your email address, your password, and you go ahead and sign in. And once you're in here, you see basically everything you need on one page. And I'm just going to show you a little bit around how the different functionalities work here. Obviously here on top, on the top right corner where it says your, in this case it says Petal and Stem Aromatherapy or your name, you can go to account preferences and you can update your account preferences, your email address, your name, country, and then you can go to the preferences itself and preset the default preferences. Show only my ingredients, cosmetic mode, show only my components. And then you can also specify here which unit you would like to work in, or you probably have a unit you most likely work the most. Was that correct now? Okay, anyway, so I work mostly with grams and milliliters, for example. So I would set this one as my unit. Then I'm currently in Portugal. I would set this one as euros, but you can go ahead and choose any other currency. And let's just change it maybe to US dollars. Okay, and then you can go ahead and click Save. Oh, let's do also show only my ingredients and click Save. And you can undo this, by the way, over and over again. And then on top here, it's just the home button, community. You can, of course, join our Aromatherapist in Business group, but also our Blend Precisely tribe, which is specific to this tool here. And then the tutorials, they will actually be updated, but you have access to older lives, but also to our tutorials and a few Q&A forms. And if you need new raw materials, you will find them over here as well. For this one, you basically need to log in with your second login you've gotten from us, and then you will get into our tutorial section, which is right here. So in order to request a new raw ingredient, you would fill out this form. If you have any questions, go ahead and use this form. If you want to have any new features or any feedback you would like to give us, you can use this form here as well. And then you have our tutorials here. And they are mostly still good, but I have to update them right now with the 3.0 release, and I'm working on it already. And you will be able to find the new ones then, hence this training here, so to get you started. But most of these are still working the same way. And then you've got a few of our past live tutorials here as well. All right, so let's get back to the app itself. So first of all, if you would like to start out with a simple recipe, first time in, you just want to try it out, just take these few steps first. First of all, decide if you would like to create a cosmetic-based recipe, meaning you're going by a batch size, you're starting with 100 grams or 200 grams, or if you just go the very traditional way we've seen in most of our aromatherapy schools, is use the ingredients step by step and add your grams and drops or any other kind of unit you will be using in your recipe. In order to use all of the Blend Precisely ingredients, you will need to show or uncheck show only my ingredients. And then this little hamburger over here on the left-hand side will pop up, and you will see around 98 pages, almost 600 raw ingredients. And those ones you can all use. The ones which have like a little trash can in front, those are yours. So if you haven't entered any yet, no problem. We will go through this in a different tutorial. But these ones here you're able to obviously adjust and enter your own raw ingredients. And then you can go step by step, or you can also search for them, or you can also say, okay, show only my ingredients. And then only your ingredients will come up with your supplier's name, unit, quantity, price, and currency. Those 5 you can change at any time. Okay, I'm going to go out here. And I'm going to start to create a recipe. So let's take cocoa butter, and please, I'm not having any specific recipe right now. I just want to show you how it works. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose hemp seed oil, for example. And I'm also going to choose a couple of essential oils. And by the way, you can also use the category section if you have a lot of essential oils, and just show only the essential oils. And I'm going to use helichrysum. Okay, since I put into my preferences grams, you will not see drops here or anything else right away, but you can always use the drop-down menu to change that. So for the cocoa butter right now, I'm going to go ahead and put in 20 grams of cocoa butter. I'm going to add, let's say, 70 grams of hemp seed oil. And then I'm going to add 0.3 grams of eucalyptus radiata. And I'm going to add a little bit of helichrysum and just 0.1 grams. Okay, so this blend here right now has one little red eye icon, and that is for the safety information, which will also show up over here on the right-hand side. But you will also see them obviously popping up right by hovering over the eye. You have your dilution ratio calculated right away. It's 0.44%. You can always go up, obviously. I'm going to see if I maybe put 0.7, you see it's going to go to 1.11% dilution ratio, sorry. Then I know it's around 100 grams right now, more or less. So I'm going to choose a container. Again, you have the possibility to only show my components, and I have a few different ones in here. So I'm going to choose maybe the scrap container, and one piece is $1.48. You can also add a label, maybe if you have a label. The 90 times 50 is perfect. And if you have any other materials in here, you can add those too. What you probably want to do is definitely look at your material costs around your packaging. You might have a lid extra, you might have an atomizer instead of a dropper, or maybe you have a glass container instead of a PET container. So those prices are all very different, and you would need to enter them separately, as those ones are your prices, obviously, and also your containers or your raw ingredients. And let me just back up a little bit. So the way you start out is obviously by creating your formulation, then you're adding the packaging, and then at the end, you're going to create the final product price. You will see here the total weight is 91 grams, and you can scale it up and down once you have saved the recipe, which we are about to do right now. Okay, so I'm gonna name this one, let's just call it Katrin's test, 3.0 release, and the 101 basics. Okay, and then I use the check mark, and then the recipe name will appear here. It says recipe saved, and it will also appear in the list of my recipes over here on the left-hand side. So I'm just going to show you all the recipes in a moment. If I go over here now to the right-hand side, so I've got my raw ingredients, I added my packaging, and now I'm going to go over and calculate my price out. So by default, we have a markup of 3. What that means is your formulation itself is $9.80. And that's obviously because of the helichrysum being so expensive. And also, if you use our blend precisely ingredients, then you probably will see higher retail prices because I sourced all of the retail prices from different suppliers for all of the 600 ingredients. But once you add your own ingredients and your own prices, this number should come down quite a bit, especially the helichrysum one here, for example. So as you can see, the cocoa butter is fairly cheap because I bought it in wholesale and that's what I paid for. But then I think the helichrysum, I just took the one which has a retail price on the market. It's organic and so on. So the price is obviously much higher. So the formulation itself is $9.80. The packaging is $1.66. That means the cost of goods sold together right now is $11.46. So in order for you to create a profit, I decided to have this profit margin here, or the markup, 3. So everything gets tripled in this case. But you can also say, okay, I'm not going to do that because it's too expensive and I'm only going to give it to a friend and she's going to pay only $22.93. Now do consider to actually put sales tax in because it's something you have to do and pay back in a regular business. And then obviously if you have to ship it, you can add that one too. Now let's look at the price quickly one more time. So the formulation obviously didn't change because I didn't make any changes here. The packaging didn't change because I didn't make any changes here. So these costs are still the same, the cost of goods sold. What did change is the final total price because I added sales tax and I also added shipping. And that's why the entire product comes to $29.83. And the nice thing about this one is I can go ahead and click save. You can actually play around with it quite a bit and just keep on saving it, maybe as a new version, or if you want to say, okay, I'm going to do ×4 right now, you could also save this one as a retail version versus a friend version or something else. And you can also obviously take little notes in this section here. So let's put this one back to the markup and then say this one is for a friend and she gets a special price. Okay, and then go ahead and save it. But you can also go and say instructions, please use, oops, sorry, typing. Please use right after a shower twice a week. So these are the instructions. You could give them to your friends as well. And then obviously, if you want to print your label, you go ahead and just copy and paste the label over. Right click, copy, and then you can create the label I create it always in Canva, and use this as you need. So this is basically how to create just a basic recipe from scratch. And what I would suggest is that you play around with the ingredients you have already here available to you. As I mentioned, there are almost 600 ingredients in here. So you can choose them all as they are. Again, the prices are retail prices and they're mostly organic ingredients, so the prices are always a little bit higher. Once you're ready to add your own prices, I would suggest that that you look at the tutorial of how to add your own single raw ingredients, because you would just go ahead and use this little plus sign. Or if you have bulk ingredients to upload, I would use the Excel spreadsheet, enter them all once, and then upload them again with this little arrow going up, upload ingredients, and they will be all in your system. So this one is basically available for the formulation section, but also for the packaging section. So I would say definitely play around with this. And then let's go over and look at the cosmetic blending for a moment. Okay, to do this, let's look at the cosmetic blending. You would need to clear out the recipe first, so you have a fresh start. And I have cosmetic blending already enabled here because I put this one under preferences. If you remember, it's over here, and I'm going to leave it like this. Okay, so my batch is going to be 240 grams. And you can choose between grams and milliliters. And that's also, I have show only my ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and just choose a few more. So what I like to do is first choose all the ingredients first, and I'm adding them. Let's go over to carrier oils and add a few carrier oils. And also maybe let's go over to the butter and wax section and use some wax as well. And I'm going to just leave it at this. Here on the right hand side, you see immediately anise is quite potent, and you want to look out for especially the topical max of 2.4%. And I'm going to show you something in a moment. All right, so in cosmetic blending, you go by percentage, and I would like to enter, for example, I'm going to use 80% is going to be my apricot kernel oil, and then I'm going to add 14% of my my wax. And also you see down here that it's 95% right now. So I want to get my blend to 100%. And in this case, I would just say, okay, I'm going to add apricot kernel oil, 85%, 14% of my Cerebellina wax, and then the anise. So you can see here the dilution ratio right now is 1.01%, and the topical max is 2.4%. So I'm very much in the safe zone. You can also pop this one up here and see a few different statistics as well. So that one was over here in the dilution ratio, more statistics. You can print those and you can go ahead and use those as well. Now I would also add a container. I'm just going to choose, that's easier, my pet scrub container one more time. And I'm going to go ahead and use a different name in this case. Cosmetic. Sorry. But I'm going to use the 3.0 cosmetic 3.0 release. Okay, and then I go ahead and click save. And as you can see, I use quite a bit of the apricot kernel oil, which is the retail price. And I obviously, let me just check if I have my own apricot kernel oil in here. Under carrier oils, and maybe I've got my own one. For example, here, if we were to add 85%, so you see the difference here. So this one is a retail price, and I'm getting my price much, much better. And that makes a huge difference in the final retail price. So if I pay $8.49 instead of $35.48, I've got a way bigger profit margin. So I'm going to take this one out. And then I'm using my wholesale apricot kernel oil I bought, and the price comes down quite a bit. You probably want to add sales tax again, and every state is different, obviously. And then shipping is going to be, let's say, $2.95 in this case. And the label you have down here available, either the inky only common name and inky name, or just the common name and Latin name here, which is all you need for the US labels. And then I go ahead and click Save. Now, what you could do is, if you like your recipe and you get many more orders, you can just create larger batch sizes, for example. And you can up in your batch size. You go up to 2,400 grams, and then you see everything else changed over here as well. And I can say save as 2,400 grams, for example, click save. And what I like to do is print my recipe now. So I go to the print button, and I will open up the PDF document. And then I've got everything here ready to go. I would normally print this one, and then I go down to my studio and start mixing everything nicely. So this is how it would look like. All right, so let's go back and click just one more time, save and clear, and then we're good to go. All right, I hope that helped, and I will come out with many more small tutorials, but this one is literally just a quick 101 overview, the basics of how to get started with Blend Precisely, and I think you should definitely take a few days and just play around with it. Let us know if you need any help, and then we will obviously be helping you in no time. And our email address is hello@blendprecisely.io. Hello@blendprecisely.io. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching this one. This is Katrin with Blend Precisely, and I will talk to you next week again. Bye.